In the past, we've talked about why Jesus had to walk in to the eastern gate, or actually be carried in through the eastern gate. And we learned why the crowd was there, because of the procession where everybody was expecting the Lamb of God to come. But we still haven't talked about why did it have to be the actual eastern gate itself. We know what day it took place on, but of all the gates coming into the city, why was it so important for him to go through that gate? Well, again, as we understand the culture, as we understand the context, things make a lot more sense. Now, I'm showing you a picture here of the eastern gate as it looks today. And you can see quite clearly that the gate is very much sealed. And in front of it, you'll see these little white caps. And they look like large rocks, and they're actually stones. In fact, they're headstones. And that's there because that's a Muslim cemetery. And why is that Muslim cemetery there? Well, you have to understand that over the course of over 1,000 years, many people came and ruled and reigned over Jerusalem. It was under the Ottoman Turks, it was under the Muslims, it was under the Crusaders. At different periods of time, somebody was always trying to control Jerusalem. But what happened is that the Muslims, the Turks that were ruling during this time, they heard a prophecy that one day a Jewish Messiah was going to come back. And guess what? That Messiah was going to come in through the eastern gate. And so what they did was they came up with a plan. And they said, well, we know he has to come in through the eastern gate, and he's Jewish, so what we'll do is we'll put a cemetery in front of it. Because as a Jewish rabbi, as a Jewish person, he can't go near any dead bodies. And so it was a great idea. And secondly, they decided to seal that gate. From the picture that we had, you could see clearly that that gate is no longer open. And so in order to prevent prophecy from taking place, they decided to seal the gate. They decided to put a whole bunch of dead Muslim bodies in front of that gate, because that was a surefire way to keep the Messiah out. At least so they thought. Now, how many of you watching today think that that's going to keep Jesus out of coming back through the eastern gate? Well, we still haven't talked about why that specific gate. For that, we need to go again to the Bible. In the book of Ezekiel, chapter 44, verses 1 and 2, this is what it says. Then the man brought me back to the outer gate of the sanctuary, the one facing where? East. And it was shut. And the Lord said to me, this gate is to remain shut. It must not be opened. No one may enter through it. It is to remain shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through that. Hang on a second. Are you having a wow moment yet as you're sitting there watching this? What did the Bible just say? It says that it's no surprise to God that one day the eastern gate is going to be shut. In fact, God says, I want it to be shut. I want it to remain shut. But why was it going to stay shut? Because God said, one day I myself am going to go through that gate. And when I go through that gate so that all men will know that I, the God of Israel, have been here, I want you to shut it for all time. I want you to take a good, long look at that gate. It is shut. That means that the God of Israel has entered through it. Which day? The day that Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God, the one who was God, he walked in through that gate. And so, in fact, while the Muslims of that day were trying to prevent prophecy from taking place by shutting the gate, they actually made prophecy come fulfilled. And so you see, friends, God knows how to take care of himself.